Rio. So let us imagine the winner gets the money tomorrow. What happens first?
A lottery winner can have no employment income, millions of dollars in assets, and still create a serious cash flow problem.
It sounds almost impossible until you break it down.
Yeah, because wealth is not simply what you own, it's also your ability to sustain what you own.
So someone wins $4 million tomorrow and calls you. What is the first thing you tell them to do, Philip?
A relative believes you should share because you did not earn the money through work, right? People begin counting your money from your own perspective. They say, you have $4 million. What is 50,000 to you? Right? But 10 people saying that now requested $500,000.
Well, people hear 4 million and assume it could never run out. How does it disappear then?
Hey, Irene, guess what? Somebody in my area just won roughly $4 million. Yeah, like 4 mil. For most people, that sounds like the end of every financial problem they've ever had. No more mortgage stress, no more worrying about bills, no more wondering whether they will ever retire. But here's the question nobody asks when the confetti is falling. Is winning $4 million enough to make someone wealthy? Or does it simply give them $4 million before their old habits catch up?
Oh, that is a harsh way to start. Someone has just won what most people would consider the greatest financial moment of their life, and you're already talking about losing it?
I'm not trying to take anything away from the celebration. Winning that kind of money is extraordinary. It can change a life, it can change an entire family, but it also brings a level of responsibility that most people have never been prepared for. Winning money and managing money are two completely different skills.
So the real question is not what would you buy if you won?
No, the better question is who would you become once the money arrives?
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to Keeping It Real podcast. My name is Philip Villanueva.
And my name's Irene Meyer.
Today, we're talking about the local catch the ace excitement, the dream of suddenly becoming a multi-millionaire, and why receiving life-changing money does not automatically create a financial secure life.
Because everybody enjoys imagining the fun part, the house, the vacation, the new vehicle, helping family, quitting work. Nobody daydreams about meeting with an accountant or reviewing an estate plan, setting boundaries, or creating a 30-year cash flow projection.
Right? That is probably why accounts are rarely or never included in lottery commercials.
Yeah, they don't look as exciting standing beside a tropical beach.
Not at all. But 5 years later, they may be much more valuable than that beach. Today is not about criticizing anyone for buying it. It's not about judging the winner. And it's certainly not about telling someone they are not allowed to enjoy their money. The conversation is about stewardship, responsibility, discipline, and what it takes to turn one lucky moment into lasting financial freedom.
So, before we get into what happens after someone wins, we should briefly explain why Catch the Ace becomes so exciting, because this is not quite the same as buying an ordinary lottery ticket. Hey, Philip?
Yeah, no, that's right. The general idea is that people buy tickets supporting a local charitable organization. Each week, the ticket is drawn. That person receives a weekly prize and has chosen a numbered envelope containing a hidden playing card. If the card is the ace of spades, they also win the growing progressive jackpot. If it is another card, that card is removed, the jackpot continues growing, and the game carries on another week.
So, which means the excitement builds. The jackpot gets larger, fewer cards remain, more people buy tickets, and suddenly the whole community is talking about it.
It becomes more than a lottery. It actually became a weekly event. People are talking about what they would do if they won. Families are choosing envelope numbers. Coworkers are making plans for money they don't have yet. And in this case, the prize grew into millions while raising significant support for the community, causing, causes through the local Canadian Legion Branch 62.
There's something enjoyable about that. I mean, even before anyone wins, people get to imagine a different life.
Yeah, that dream is part of the appeal. For minutes, people allow themselves to believe everything could change. But once someone actually wins, that dream ends and the responsibility now begins.
Okay, so let me challenge you. Okay, $4 million is a tremendous amount of money for the average person. Would that not solve almost like every financial problem?
I mean, it could. That is the important word. Could. It could eliminate the debt. It could create retirement security. It could provide reliable income. It could fund education for children and grandchildren. It could allow someone to help families support charities, travel, and enjoy life without constant worrying about money. But none of that happens automatically. The check does not arrive with discipline attached to it. It does not include financial knowledge. It does not include boundaries. It does not repair unhealthy relationships with money. The winner receives gives capital. What happens after that depends on character, habits, decisions, and planning.
So money doesn't necessarily change people.
Not at all. I think money often reveals people. It magnifies what was already there, right? If someone was thoughtful and disciplined with a small amount, they may handle a large amount responsibly. If someone consistently spent every dollar they earn, like my daughter, $4 million may simply allow them to spend at a much greater scale. If someone struggled to say no to family before, imagine trying to say no when everyone knows you're a millionaire. I mean, I'm already seeing that on Facebook. If someone was always chasing the next exciting investment, now they have enough money to make much more expensive mistakes.
Oh, that is uncomfortable because we all like to believe we would suddenly become wiser.
Yeah, right. Of course we would. Everyone imagines the best version of themselves winning. They picture themselves paying off their mother's house, setting up education funds, investing carefully, and living modestly. Nobody says, if I win, I plan to make impulsive decisions, trust the wrong people, and underestimate carrying costs, right? Yet that is often how financial trouble begins, not with one ridiculous purchase, with a series of decisions that each feel reasonable in the moment.
So let us imagine the winner gets the money tomorrow. What happens first?
Oh, well, usually the mental shopping list begins, right? Like, I mean, I'm buying this, I'm buying that. Maybe pay off the mortgage. That may be sensible, right? Buy a larger house, maybe buy a cottage, a new vehicle, perhaps two vehicles. Take the entire family on vacation. Help the children, help the siblings, help the parents. Give money to close friends. Donate to community causes. Quit work. Right? Invest in a business. Renovate a new house. Buy toys for the cottage. None of those choices automatically sounds irresponsible. That's what makes it dangerous.
Because it's not one purchase that destroys the money, it's the total.
The purchases and the lifestyle that comes with them. Like, let's say someone buys a beautiful $1 million home. They may pay cash and think, I have no mortgage. This house is free. The house is not free. There are property taxes, utilities, maintenance, repairs, landscaping, furniture, insurance, maybe a pool, maybe higher transportation costs because the house is farther away. Then they buy a cottage. Now they have many of those expenses twice, right? Then a boat, storage, fuel, repairs, docking, insurance, winterization.
You can really become poorer while looking much richer.
Yeah. Well, that old story being, house broke and car broke, right?
Mm.
That is one of the great financial illusions. People see assets, they don't see carrying costs. They see someone driving a beautiful vehicle. They do not see the annual cost of maintaining the lifestyle surrounding it. They see the large house. They do not see the amount of money leaving every month. A lottery winner can have no employment income, millions of dollars in assets, and still create a serious cash flow problem.
It sounds almost impossible until you break it down.
Yeah, because wealth is not simply what you own. It's also your ability to sustain what you own.
So someone wins $4 million tomorrow and calls you. What is the first thing you tell them to do, Philip?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, for a little while. Yeah. Don't quit your job immediately. Don't announce promises to anyone you know. Don't buy the house this weekend. Like, don't invest your in your cousin's business on Monday. Like, right? Don't lend money because somebody else presents an emergency, or don't start distributing large gifts before understanding the full picture. Take a second, pause, breathe, right? Secure the money. Let the emotions settle and build a professional team. Understand what you have, then start designing the life you want.
So how long would you wait then?
There's no magical number for that. I mean, but 30 to 60 days of deliberate restraint could prevent years of regret. Somebody has probably waited their entire life for a moment like that, right? Another 60 days not going to hurt them.
But would that not feel almost impossible? I mean, you're sitting on $4 million and still going to work Tuesday morning.
Yeah, it's kind of the point. It would be difficult, but that is the first test. Can you control the money, right? Or does the money immediately begin controlling you? I'm not saying that the person must keep working forever. I'm saying don't make a permanent decision in the middle of an emotional high, right? Winning creates excitement, adrenaline, attention, pressure, right? And urgency. Urgency is rarely the best environment for any major financial decision.
So would you tell people?
Well, that depends on the rules surrounding the prize and the information, what information becomes public. Like me personally, I would keep the private circle as small as possible, right? Not because everyone around you is dishonest, because once people know, relationships do change.
Even good relationships?
especially complicated relation, right? A sibling remembers every time they've helped you all of a
Yeah.
sudden, right? A friend presents a business opportunity. Someone assumes paying off their debt would be insignificant to you, right? A relative believes you should share because you did not earn the money through work, right? People begin counting your money from your own perspective. They say, you have $4 million. What is 50,000 to you? Right? But 10 people saying that now requested $500,000.
Yeah, and saying yes once creates expectations.
That is where the boundaries become essential. Generosity without structure can destroy both money and relationships. A winner may genuinely want to help. That is admirable. But helping cannot mean responding emotionally to every request. You need a giving strategy. How much are you willing to allocate? Who are you willing to help? Will the money be a gift or a loan? What happens when someone returns a second time, right? What happens when one family member receives more than another? I'm facing that with some people actually that have an insurance claim. Same kind of ordeal. These are not just financial questions. These are emotional and relational questions.
A person may need to become comfortable really disappointing people then.
Yeah, that may be one of the most important responsibilities of sudden wealth. The winner cannot become everyone's emergency fund.
Yeah. Well, you kind of mentioned creating a team. Who should be around that table?
The exact team depends on the situation, right? But generally, I would want legal guide, accounting, tax guidance, estate support, estate planning support, and a qualified financial professional who looks at the entire picture rather than immediately trying to sell one product.
Yeah, so why would tax guidance matter if lottery winnings themselves are generally not taxed in Canada?
Because what happens after the win can create tax consequence, right?
Mm.
The original prize may receive one treatment, but interest, investment income, capital gains, business income, gifts involving certain assets, trust planning, and estate decisions can create entirely different issues. That's why the winner should not assume the prize was tax free. So everything I do with it is tax free forever, right?
Yeah.
This is kind of an area where individualized professional advice matter.
And the lawyer?
I mean, we're talking wills, powers of attorney, ownership structures, potential agreements, privacy considerations, estate distribution,
Mm.
maybe family law, considerations. Sudden wealth makes old documents outdated very quickly, right? Someone who wrote a simple will when they owned a vehicle and a small bank account now has a multi-million-dollar estate. That deserves more planning. And that's assuming they had a will in the first place.
Right. And the financial professional should coordinate all of this.
No, that should be the goal, really. Holistic planning means the investment strategy cannot be separate from the tax strategy, the estate strategy, the lifestyles, the family, the risk, and the person's long-term goals. The winner does not need a collection of unrelated products. They need a coordinated plan.
Right. So most people would assume the first financial question is, how should I invest $4 million?
That's not even where I would begin.
No?
Right? No. My first question would be, what do you want this money to do for your life? Right? Does the winner want to retire immediately, work part-time, start a business, travel, remain in the same house, right? Support children, create a legacy, give to a charity, provide income for life, preserve capital for the next generation. And those goals require different strategies.
Yeah. So there's no single best investment.
Yeah, there is no investment that can be called best without understanding the job the money is supposed to perform, right? Money needed next year should not necessarily be handled the same way as money intended for grandchildren's decades from now, right? Money funding, like monthly living expenses has a different purpose from money set aside for charitable giving. Before choosing investments, we assign responsibility. Every dollar needs a job.
That sounds less exciting than picking the next big opportunity.
I mean, let's face it, good planning often looks boring. Boring is underrated, right? The goal is not to produce an exciting statement every month. The goal is to protect a life for decades.
This sounds like the perfect situation for the 3 L's.
It is, really. People may assume the 3 L's only matter when someone is struggling to build wealth. Right? They may matter even more once wealth actually arrives, right? Like the first is the locked in capital. This is the portion protecting the future, right? This is your foundation. Money that should not be spent casually. Retirement, long-term investments, legacy planning, education, estate goals, potential assets designed to provide stability for decades. The winner needs to decide how much of this money must be protected from myself, from other people, from short-term emotion.
That phrase is super powerful. Protected from me.
Yeah. Sometimes our greatest financial threat is not the market, it's our own behavior.
Mm.
Locked in capital creates a line that says this money has a future responsibility and today's excitement does not override it, right? The second is liquidity capital. This is accessible money, cash reserves, near term spending, emergency funds, money for planned purchases. The winner should have enough liquidity to avoid selling long term investments every time something comes up. But there is another side to it. Too much easily accessible cash can also become dangerous. If millions are sitting in one ordinary account, every impulse feels affordable.
Yeah, so liquidity needs structure too.
Absolutely, it does. Accessible does not mean directionless. Then we have our lifestyle capital. This is the money designed to improve life today. Take the vacation, upgrade something meaningful, enjoy experiences, reduce work, spend more time with the family, support causes you care about. The winner should enjoy some of the money. Absolutely, they should. A plan that says you just won $4 million, but you must live as though nothing happened. That's not realistic or even healthy.
So the lifestyle should improve. It just should not explode.
That's the balance, right? Enjoy the win without creating a lifestyle that eventually consumes the win.
Oh, okay. So let's make this practical. People hear 4 million and assume it could never run out. How does it disappear then?
Much faster than most people expect. It's funny because my 13-year-old daughter turning 14 actually just turned 14. Sorry, she turned 14. Literally said this right to me before I even mentioned it. Imagine someone spends 1 million on a home and major renovations. They give 500,000 to a family. They purchase vehicles, travel, furnishings, and a cottage, bringing an initial spending to another million. Now, half the original money it's already gone. Then they stop working. Their new lifestyle costs $200,000 per year without even considering investment gains, taxes on future income, inflation, or unexpected expenses. The remaining capital can shrink very fast.
Yeah. And the person still feels like a millionaire, right? Because the house and the cottage are valuable.
Right? They surrounded themselves with the look, but neither pays the grocery bill unless they sell or borrow against it. That is the difference between net worth and cash flow. You can own valuable assets and still run out of spendable money.
Yes, amen. That is why people say they were rich on paper.
Yep. A strong plan needs both assets and sustainable cash flow. The question's not simply how much money do you have, it's how much does your life cost and how much income can the capital reasonably support? And how long does a plan need to last?
I think a lot of winners would be approached with business ideas.
Without question. He was probably getting calls till midnight, right? Suddenly, everyone knows about a restaurant, a real estate development, a tech company, a franchise, or a business that is guaranteed to take off.
And because the winner has money, they may feel they should become an investor.
Oh, having capital does not automatically make someone qualified to evaluate businesses. A person who has never reviewed a balance sheet, studied an industry, understood valuation, or managed investment risk should not suddenly place hundreds of thousands of dollars into a private business because the presentation was exciting.
So what if it's a close friend asking?
That often makes it harder too, not safer. Now the decision carries emotional pressure, right? If the business fails, the money may be lost, and same with the relationship, right? There is nothing wrong with allocating a limited amount to higher risk opportunities, provided the person understands the risk, performs proper due diligence, and can afford a complete loss, right? But the foundation should never be gambled because someone is afraid to say no.
Okay, so we've talked about money. What happens emotionally?
Yeah, that may be the least understood part of sudden wealth. Imagine, yeah, like literally, imagine waking up one day and your entire financial identity changes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, think about that. Okay, you may no longer need your job. You're unsure whom to trust. People treat you differently. You feel guilty because you have money, others don't. You may feel pressure to improve everyone's life. You may become afraid of losing the money. Every purchase becomes symbolic. Every request becomes a test.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like instant peace.
No, money can remove certain stresses, but it can introduce absolutely new ones, right? Some winners may miss the structure of work. They may lose a sense of purpose, right? A social circle may change. Partners may disagree about spending. One person wants to preserve everything, the other wants to enjoy immediately. Children may develop expectation. Family tensions that were already present can actually become louder, right? This is why the plan cannot focus only on return. The winner needs time to answer, who am I now? And that perhaps more importantly, who do I still want to be?
Okay, so let's answer the question. everyone is thinking, would you quit your job?
No, not on the first day, but eventually, possibly, right? But I would ask what work provides, beyond income, routine, purpose, relationships, identity, benefits, a sense of contribution.
Hmm.
The person may decide to retire, reduce hours, change careers, volunteer, or build something meaningful. I mean, that could be wonderful. But I no longer need this paycheck is not the same as I no longer need purpose.
Oh yeah, so the money should buy freedom from obligation, not freedom from meaning.
Right. That is beautifully said.
Yes.
The healthiest use of wealth may be creating the freedom to choose
Hmm.
meaningful work, right? Freedom to choose rather than escaping every form of work.
Wow. Okay. So at what point do you involve the family?
Here we go. Really carefully. The winner and their partner should first be aligned. I mean, that's huge, right? They need to talk honestly about lifestyle, gifts, privacy, work, children, family expectations, and long term priority. Once they have a clear direction, they can decide what to communicate to others.
So would you tell children the exact amount?
That depends on their ages, their maturity and the family. But wealth without education, it can actually create entitlement. Children
Yeah.
should understand that the money has responsibilities. It may provide opportunities, but it's not it doesn't remove the need for character, effort, or wise decision making. The worst legacy would be leaving money without teaching the next generation how to handle it.
So let's go back to helping family. Okay. Most people say that that would be their first priority.
And that can be one of the most meaningful uses of the money. Yeah, for sure. Paying for education, helping a parent retire, assisting with safe housing, supporting medical needs, creating opportunities. Those can be really beautiful decisions. But there is a difference between helping someone and repeatedly rescuing someone from the consequences of their own behavior.
So then how would you tell the difference?
Ask whether the gift creates stability or dependence. Does it solve a defined problem? Is there a plan afterward? Does it empower the person or simply postpone the next emergence? If you pay off someone's credit card, but nothing changes about how they use credit, you may not solve the problem. You may reset the clock.
And because the winner has money, people may expect unlimited resets.
Yeah, that is why generosity needs wisdom. A loving no can sometimes protect a relationship better than an impulsive yes.
So I started this conversation thinking $4 million was simply freedom. And now I think it is freedom plus responsibility.
And that is the heart of today's episode. The winner has received an incredible opportunity, but opportunity without responsibility can become waste. The money can support, it can support one extraordinary year or an extraordinary lifetime. It may even support multiple generations. The difference would not be luck. The luck already happened, right? What comes next is stewardship. Before we continue, let me ask everyone listening a small favor. If this conversation has made you think differently about sudden wealth, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who always says, if I won the lottery, all my problems would be solved. Maybe they would be, but only if the winner is prepared to solve them. Our goal with this conversation is not to tell people what to do with their money. It is to help people ask better questions, before life forces them to make major decisions. Now, let us talk about what a responsible first year plan would actually look like.
So walk me through the first year, not specific investment advice, Philip, but the order of decisions.
Yeah, the first phase is protection and pause. Secure the ticket and prize. Understand privacy and legal requirements. Avoid immediate commitments. Build your professional. Update the will and powers of attorney. Review debt. Review insurance and estate needs. Notice I'm using review, right? Determine who needs to know. The second phase is vision. What life does the winner want? 5, 10, 30 years from now. And what does enough look like, right? What are the family priorities? What causes matter? What level of annual spending feels enjoyable but sustainable? The third phase is structure. Divide capital by responsibility. Lock in capital for the future. Liquidity capital for flexibility. Lifestyle capital for enjoyment. Establish boundaries around gifts and loans. Create a tax-aware investment and income strategies with qualified professionals. And the fourth phase is gradual implementation. Make major decisions one at a time. Pay off debt where appropriate. Complete planned purchases. Invest according to the strategy. Do not try to redesign your entire life in 1 month.
That sounds intentionally slow.
Slow is valuable when mistakes are expensive.
Yeah. Well, here's something connected to our last episode. Does someone with $4 million still need insurance?
Possibly, but the purpose might change. Before the win, insurance might have been needed to replace employment income, pay off the mortgage or protect dependents. After the win, some of those needs may be reduced, but new concerns may appear. Estate liquidity, taxes arising from assets after death. right? Charitable giving, business agreements, equalizing inheritance, protecting family wealth. Insurance should never remain unchanged simply because it was purchased before the win. The entire protection strategy needs to be reviewed in the contents of the new financial life.
So becoming wealthy doesn't automatically mean canceling everything.
Nor does it mean automatically buying more. It means reviewing the purpose. Holistic planning asks, what job is this policy doing now? If it no longer has a meaningful job, you got to change it. If the new estate creates a need, you need to address it. The plan should evolve around the person.
So I have to ask you personally, what would you do?
Okay. I would first make sure my family had security. I would eliminate any debts that did not serve a strategic purpose, right? Like, again, the debt's not serving a strategic purpose. I would create a long-term income structure so that the money could support our lives without being slowly consumed. I would allocate money towards experiences and meaningful time with my family. I would support causes that matter to me, and I would continue working, although perhaps with more freedom to choose the work I wanted to do.
So you would still work?
Absolutely. Because I don't think my purpose disappears when financial pressure disappears.
Hmm.
Maybe I'd structure my time differently for sure. I would invest more heavily in education, community, our podcast and helping families. But I would not want the greatest opportunity of my life to make my life feel smaller.
That's an interesting way to say it, actually. People picture wealth as doing less, and you picture it as having the freedom to do more of what matters.
That is what financial freedom should create, not permanent idleness, intentional living.
So is winning the lottery the finish line?
Not at all. It's actually the starting line of a completely different financial life. Before the win, the challenge may have been building wealth. After the win, the challenge becomes preserving it, using it meaningfully, and making sure it improves your life without consuming your identity.
So most people train for years to earn a high income. A lottery winner receives the responsibility literally overnight.
Yeah. I'm just going to plug in here. This made me think of something. When you see professional athletes, boxers working to become the world champion, right? So once they become the world champion, they don't stop boxing.
No.
Right? They actually have to train harder to hold on to that title.
Yeah.
Right? It's the exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
That is what makes sudden wealth so different. There is no gradual learning curve, no years of increasing complex decisions. One day, the person manages a normal household budget. The next day, they're responsible for a multi-million-dollar estate.
Wow.
That is, yeah, right. That's literally what happens. You become that, the second ranked boxer or the third rank, and sometimes even like Manny Pacquiao was the 6th or 7th ranked boxer before he won his title.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now he's responsible for a multi-million-dollar estate, right? This is why humility matters. The smartest sentence a winner can say may be, I do not know enough yet to make this decision.
Okay, so I want to finish with legacy because $4 million could change more than one person's life.
That is the most inspiring possibility. Imagine the person's grandchildren speaking about this decade from now. They could say, my grandparents won $4 million, spent it quickly, and for a few years, life was incredible. Or they could say, my grandparents won $4 million. And because they planned carefully, our family gained access to education, stable housing, business opportunities, community support, and choices that change generations. Same price, different legacy.
And the difference wasn't the amount.
It was a responsibility. A large check can create temporary comfort. A thoughtful plan can create lasting opportunity. That is why financial freedom is not measured only by how much money someone receives. It is measured by how long that money can protect their freedom, how wisely it supports their life, and what remains after they're gone.
So there's something almost ironic about this. People buy the ticket because they want one lucky moment to change everything. But after the win, luck is no longer enough.
That may be the perfect summary, right? Luck can put money in your hand. Only discipline can keep it there. Planning gives the money direction. Boundaries protect it. Patience gives you time to make wise decisions. Purpose ensures the money adds meaning rather than simply adding possessions, right? And responsibility turns a prize into a legacy.
So this week's question is simple, but it might reveal more than you expect. If someone handed you $4 million tomorrow, would it change your financial habits? Or would it simply magnify the habits you already have?
Would you know what enough looks like, right? Would you know whom to trust? Could you say no? Could you wait? Could you enjoy the money without allowing your lifestyle to consume it? And most importantly, what would you want that money to accomplish long after the excitement of winning had passed?
So congratulations to the local winner. We genuinely hope this becomes an incredible blessing for them, their family, and the community.
And to everyone who has ever dreamed of winning, keep dreaming, but do something even more powerful. Start building the habits today that would allow you to handle wealth tomorrow. Learn to budget before you have millions. Learn to invest before the stakes become enormous. Learn to set boundaries before everyone starts asking. Learn what you value before money gives you unlimited options. Because the responsibility of wealth does not begin when you win. It begins with the person you're becoming right now.
Thank you for joining us.
Keep asking better questions, keep building with intention, and remember, winning can change your bank account overnight. Planning is what changes your life, and that is keeping it real.